Warriors end up shooting 43% after struggling in the first half. Still want to get that three-point percentage up. Pacers out-rebounded by 3, but the points off turnovers, 28-14, advantage Warriors. And look how many times they got to the free throw line.
Ooh, look at that.
37 times. Missed 11 of them. However, I like the fact that they got to the free throw line 37 times as we welcome everybody back to Toyota Warriors postgame live here at the Gatehouse at Thrive City. Dub Nation's jacked up as the Warriors remain undefeated inside the Chase Center and go on this 6-game road trip. And it's going to be a problem. We won't be back here till November 21st. Can't wait to see what the Warriors record will be once they get back home. But let's talk about how they open up the game, especially early on, creating some open looks for the bigs. Quentin Post started knocking down some threes as well as Al Horford. Break it down, Fezzi.
Oh, well, I love, this is what penetration does for you, right? You penetrate the defense so that you can create shots for other guys. But Quentin, right here, you set a great screen for Jimmy Butler or Steph Curry, any of the guards, you're going to be open. And I love this movement right here, moving without the basketball. Here you go, Quentin. Get to the corner. This right here is moving with your man, knowing exactly how to play. You know Draymond's trying to get to the rim. The defense is going to suck in. There you go. Quentin Post with a big three from the corner.
That entire play was set up because Jimmy Butler didn't know where he was going. He passed it out to Draymond Green. He goes across the middle of the paint as Jimmy is now doing here. And the same exact play is working out perfectly where Al Horford spaces out. And guess what? He has enough gap between him and his defender. Why? Because there's someone in the paint forcing the issue, making you respect the basket that could be happening, whether it was Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler. I mean, I just love the fact these are the things that we did not see against Denver. These are the things you're going to have to do against teams like an OKC that are coming up very quickly. Teams are going to have to want to react, to dribble drive penetration. That's what you need.
Get in the paint. This is more of the story. Get in the paint. Get your 2 feet in the middle of the paint, and that's going to create offense for everybody else. Moving the ball around the three-point line, that doesn't do much for the Warriors. That doesn't do much for the Warriors offense, and you got to make the defense work on the other end because otherwise they're conserving their energy, just ready to run the ball back to you on the other end. I think the Warriors did a better job in the second half. I thought the points in the paint, it just makes a huge difference. Quentin Post, I got to give him a lot of credit. He came out the gates, and he keeps making his imprint and his impact and his imprint on the game in the first half, and I love that, setting the tone early for the bigs. And then as the game went along, you have Al Horford coming into game. You got Jimmy Butler. Now you're just relying on the young guys. And it's really good to see know that the young guys have that fight in them.
Especially in the third quarters. Let's break down the third quarter tape here. As the Warriors ended that frame on a 14-3 run. And we're watching that game from the tunnel. The Pacers came out and made 5 threes in the first half of that quarter. They took a 65-64 lead, and we're thinking, are we really going to have another game? Is this going to come down to crunch time with the Warriors late in that third frame? You see Al Horford with the 3, Jimmy with a great drive, and here's a 4-point play by Moses Moody. Hey, I'm desperate here from the corner. But you know what? He got it to count. That was a huge shot going into the fourth.
Huge shot, huge confidence shot. You saw Steph Curry bucked up after that. He was so hyped for his teammate. Everyone was, because Moses Moody needed a shot like that. This was also a kind of defining point, kind of night-night type of moment for Moses Moody to be able to hit that shot. But even in the last play, we're talking about movement and being able to penetrate in the paint. It's one thing when you got the ball in your hand and you can move the defense because people have to respect you with that. But you saw Quentin Post constantly moving, assessing. You cannot stand still and be out on the perimeter eating popcorn, as my coach used to say. You can't play that type of basketball. But same thing with Moses Moody, spacing out to the wing, Al Horford spacing out, Moses Moody continuing to move and finding himself in the corner to be able to get that shot. You have to keep moving and staying alert when someone has the ball in their hands.
I mean, the key to Indiana staying in the game in the third quarter was Andrew Nembhard. Hit a couple threes there in the third quarter. He is really the only player, big rotational player on that team that was playing right there. And in that third quarter, he tried to make that surge. I thought the Warriors did a great job of curtailing him. He only made 2 field goals today. That's huge. That's you limiting and playing the game with defense. No Steph. You got to play with your defense. I thought the Warriors did a good job of stopping them and then running on those misses for the Indiana Pacers.
Again, from that point, 65-64, Pacers up 1. Warriors outscored them the rest of the way, 50-18 to get the dub here at Chase Center. They'll hit the road for 6 games, something we cannot emphasize enough here on Toyota Warriors Postgame Live. Let's hear from head coach Steve Kerr on the win.
Steve, what was the biggest difference in that third quarter? Towards the end, that 10-0 run to end the third?
Well, we finally got some strung together some stops, and then we had good pace to the game. Jimmy really took over the game at that point. But we got some guys out there with him who were really cutting, moving, Will Moses did a great job. I liked how Pat Spencer pushed the ball, and obviously Al, knocking down some shots and blocking shots. That was a good stretch, and that opened up the game for us finally.
Steve, Kuminga obviously having a breakthrough season up until the last couple games, and tonight, not so much. Your thoughts on what's going on there?
Just a tough night. Every night is different, and wasn't his night, but Tuesday could be his night. So you just got to keep playing.
You guys, about to head out on this You're about to head on this 6-game trip with back-to-back right away, a couple back-to-backs on the trip. How do you feel? You guys are kind of playing right now, and also just physically, where do you feel like you guys are at for what?
Yeah, I mean, we're not playing very well. Clearly, we had a great fourth quarter, end of third, and then fourth quarter, the ball started moving. There was some flow, and but overall, we haven't played real well. But I'm very confident in this team. It's going to be a tough trip. As you mentioned, 2 back-to-backs. We kind of felt like, getting through this early part of the schedule in one piece, and, if we're healthy and, win our share of games, that it sets up the rest of the season well for us. So obviously we gave a couple games away, but all in all, we're pretty healthy, and we're going to get there. I can picture, the team. I can see what kind of team we're going to be, but we don't really have our identity yet.
Hello, Steve. A question for Canal Plus Africa. Back to Kuminga then. So you talked about tonight, but overall, how do you judge his beginning of this season that has been made of some ups and downs? And how different is he from last season already as a player, and when it comes to his melting with the team?
How different is who as a player?
Kuminga. From the last season.
Yeah. As far as the the season, the beginning of the season, we feel like our record should be better. We probably let a couple games slip away, but we're finding out a lot about our team. It's been great to see Will Richard play, and try to incorporate Al Horford, let him get comfortable, and then J.K. has done a really good job. Here in the early season. Tonight wasn't his night, but I think he's had a good start to the season. We're giving him more responsibility, guarding the ball, and he's showing the growth that we had hoped.
Steve.
Big news for the Warriors is Stephen Curry will return. He's expected to return Tuesday night against the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, who beat the Grizzlies earlier tonight. Stephen Curry in his last 5 games, 40% from the floor, 34.5% from 3, and just 22.5 points per game. So that was his last 5. We're going to get to the word of the day in just a second. Got a little sneak preview there.
I see it.
We're jumping the gun there, but Stephen Curry will be back to help out this team.
Which is going to be huge for the offense. But I love the fact that they were able to find how to score without him in the second half. That must be very assuring for this team to know, yes, we can get easy buckets without our star Steph Curry. But when he's out there, everything gets back to normal. The solar system with which he is the sun gets back to rotating normally. The gravity he pulls when he's shooting threes makes those split actions, the plays that they run, feel more smooth. And we know that they're so much better out there when Steph and Draymond are working in tandem. So I'm sure they're really excited to have him back.
Heliocentric.
Oh, you better. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Steph he is the guy. But what I love about this offense today is they found a different way to win.
Exactly.
And I think this is going to be key. We've talked about non-Steph minutes and the ability for young players, for role players, for everybody to find a groove themselves when Steph is not in the game. That's what you saw today. And as you go through a long season, you have to find different ways to win. Because when the playoffs come around and you want to win 4 different series, you have to win 4 different series 4 different ways. I thought the Warriors found something in Jimmy Butler being a ball handler tonight, and that's something they're going to try to exploit moving forward.
Well, on this road trip, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Wemby.
Oh, you're going against OKC, so you need all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. So.
I see you soon, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. With that said, all right, Fez, it's time to take a look at the wild Western Conference.
Yeah!
We'll see them boys on Tuesday. Oklahoma City taking on the Grizzlies in Memphis. Second quarter Grizz. Some great ball movement. Look at that. Jaren Jackson for 3. Grizzlies up 19 midway through the second quarter.
That didn't
the
last
score
long.
there. It did not last long because the MVP is in the house. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing what he does, taking over the game, 35 points, 11 of 22 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Thunder with just 1 loss on the season, and winning by 14. Because that's what SGA does. Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren. We'll see them on Tuesday, and the defending champs are playing desperate, like they didn't win the championship last season.
So what you're saying is no lead is safe in Oklahoma?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Anywhere Oklahoma is.
Okay. And you're also
Oklahoma.
saying that if the Warriors win in Oklahoma, they can expiate all these bad losses they've had so
Yes.
far? They can
Yes.
get
Look
expiation?
at you.
It would be an exploratory win.
Fez. I'm so proud
Look
of
at
you.
you.
Wow.
Fast
Something
learner.
today.
There
I
you
learned
go.
something today.
I love it.
All right,
I
Zia,
love
teach
it.
us something else.
Okay.
Wow, way to put her on the spot, Fezzy. Teach us something about Oklahoma City.
Well,
there you
Oklahoma City is a team that they know exactly how they want to win. Everything we talked about in the pregame for the Warriors in terms of trying to figure out what the adjustments are with Steph not on the floor, whether Shai's on the floor or not, they know how to win. Jalen Williams, their all-star teammate that right now is sidelined, is not out on the floor, and they know how to win without him. Chet Holmgren, in their first few games where they were undefeated, 7-0, he hadn't played in 3 of those games. They know how to win regardless of who's on the floor. They're so bought in. And they, of course, because they have the team that literally just won a final, pretty much back on the floor outside of Jalen Williams.
I mean, their leader is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the toughest guards to guard in the NBA. So we talk about defense and trying to guard somebody, point of attack defense and stopping people from getting to the paint. That's the guy that you need to stop. Because not only does he get to the paint, he also gets to the free throw line. So a lot of challenges for the Warriors defensively. You got to be really locked in. It's a welcome sight to hear that Steph Curry is going to be back for that game.
A back-to-back to start off the road trip into Oklahoma City and then San Antonio.
2 tough teams
Holy.
with some nasty back courts.
Oh, nasty. I'm getting a headache right now thinking about it. All right, let's flash it back to 2010 because we saw the injury report for Indiana earlier today. There's like 10 guys on the injury report. I mean, it was longer than the 49ers injury report, and we know how injured they are. Well, back in 2010, the Warriors finished the game in Portland with 4 healthy players. Steph did score 42, but he had to play 48 minutes. That's right. Stephen Curry, Monte Ellis, Anthony Tolliver, and Reggie Williams alongside Devin George played the entire game until George picked up a 6th foul. But Don Nelson had a decision to make. He brought back an injured Chris Hunter, and Hunter would actually commit a foul after spending less than a minute on the floor, which resulted in him getting benched once again.
There's nobody on the bench?
Look at his bench.
What's going
There's
on?
more assistant
crazy.
coaches. How about this tweet? ESPN Insights. The Warriors' 31-point win tonight against Indiana is the team's largest victory in a game without Stephen Curry.
Hey, there we go.
Since he entered the NBA.
And you thought this was going to be a slow night, Bonte.
It was slow midway through the third quarter, Fezzy. I was a little concerned.
Patience.
But you know what? Will Richard entered the game, and my confidence went up and up and up as his stock keeps going up. Here's Will Richard at the podium.
Well, at this point, just how comfortable do you feel in this offense with this team?
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. I mean, I try to keep it simple out there, spacing the floor, knowing when to cut and stuff like that. So I'm definitely getting adjusted, and credit to my teammates. They've helped make that transition a lot easier.
How have your teammates helped you with that transition?
Just being so insightful. I feel like I asked them a lot of questions about where they like to be on the court, where I fit in and stuff like that. And all of them have been helpful, telling me exactly where to go and stuff like that. So I'll probably just say the way they've guided me throughout my transition to the NBA.
You mentioned it in your first answer, but what are the keys to knowing when to cut?
I feel like as soon as I see the defender's head turn, that's when I cut, or when I see the back of his numbers, that's when I know to cut, yeah.
Is that something you've just kind of known instinctively since high school or college? Or, I mean, how do you develop a skill like that?
Yeah, credit to my coaches growing up in high school, college. They all poured into me and playing the right way. And I grew up watching the Warriors as well, so I grew up watching guys like that moving out the basketball and stuff like that. So it's definitely helped.
I will. You just got a nice compliment from Al Horford. He said that when you go on the floor, you do things right. You bring the energy level up. I mean, maybe that sounds simple, but those things really matter. What do you take pride in doing when you hit that floor from the second you check into a game?
Yeah, just making impact, whether that's on the offensive, defensive end, and sprinting the floor and doing stuff like that. Like I said, I grew up watching the Warriors, so for me, Steph and Dre and all them, they made my childhood. So I feel like every time I'm on the court, I need to pay that back by going out there and playing as hard as I can.
And he also.
That is the energy we need, Festus. Right there. Will Richard.
That's right.
Playing desperate playing like he's on a two-way contract. 15 big points, 7 to 8 from the free throw line. And he'll take his act on the road as we take a look at the Toyota drive ahead. And this is a monster road trip to begin the season. 2 back-to-backs on this road trip. It'll be 5 back-to-backs in the first couple weeks of the season.
This has been a crazy schedule. And this is the road trip that separates the men from the boys right here. All right, so you start off with the defending champs in OKC. Hopefully having Steph back in the lineup is going to bring some much needed energy back to the lineup and back to the offense for the Warriors. But this win tonight was huge for them in the fourth quarter, trying to get a win, just trying to get something to make yourself feel good. I thought I saw a good game from Quentin Post, Will Richard, whose praises you've been singing so far with due cause, right? Because he's coming to the game, brought a lot of energy, defensively, offensively, making great plays, energy plays, rebounding. As a guard, that's huge. Jimmy Butler was able to really orchestrate this offense there in the third and fourth quarters and really find something out of nothing when the Warriors were struggling. So it's something that you can build upon here on this road trip.
And Al Horford seeing the ball go through the hoop after a rough night last week in Sacramento, that's big as well.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said over and over, things can change overnight. The Warriors were just 4-2 and about to go on a road trip, and now they're 5-5. And tomorrow they can be 10-5, and we're celebrating again. It's just right now at this point in the season, it's about stacking wins and finding ways to win. Tonight was not pretty, but it was a win, and you can build on that.
I can't wait. OKC, San Antonio for 2.
That's right.
New Orleans down at the Smoothie King Center. Then you go to Florida for Orlando and Miami.
Like I said, it's one of those games. If you're scared, go to church. Monte, let's go. This is that time.
You'll hear from Jimmy Butler on Doves Talk Live with the great KB, Kareth Burke, and the pride of Yale, Zena Katie. That is it for us here on Toyota Warriors Postgame Live. Well, Tuesday night when the Warriors take on the defending champions. Have a good night, everybody.